Excitement ahead for the Pacers and we fans. Good afternoon, I'm Dustin Grove. Good to see you at 4 o'clock.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence, and we actually have more on those stories in just a moment, but we actually have some details on today's historic trip to space. You know, that all-female crew, well, they have landed safely back on Earth. But now to our big story today, the day of action at the State House.
That's right, teachers from across Indiana packed the State House, rallying against a proposed property tax reform bill that would cut funding for public school districts. Those teachers pushed back on that today.
Our State House reporter Emily Longnecker and 13 News reporter Samantha Johnson have live team coverage. Sam, we want to start with you. We know you spent the day talking with teachers. What's their message here?
Yeah, we saw what we guessed would probably be more than 1,000 teachers, administrators, parents, even students who packed the Indiana Statehouse today. Their big concern, of course, public funding for public schools. We heard that chant time and time again. Several of them making signs, writing letters to legislators, even meeting with some folks here inside the State House. I can also tell you, we talked to one teacher who told us, you know what, I'm better serving my students here at the State House today than I am in my classroom, which I felt was pretty profound. We heard that from several teachers today. And like we mentioned, all of this surrounding their concerns on Senate Bill 1. And Emily, this is something you've been following really from the beginning of the session.
Yeah, Sam, you know, that's the property tax relief bill, Senate Bill 1. It is back in the Senate today where it all started earlier in the session. The Senate passed a version of property tax relief that they liked. The governor wasn't so happy with it. So then the House got a shot at property tax relief, and they made some pretty significant changes. And some of those changes were the reason that we had teachers here today, many of them upset. The House version cuts property tax revenue more than the Senate's proposal. That means less money coming into schools. Another change would have public schools sharing referendum money with charter schools, and another amendment would dissolve the Union School Corporation in Randolph County. The district has around 300 students attending classes in person, but another 9,000 students from across the state attend online. Two of the lawmakers behind the amendment, Republican State Senator Scott Alexander and Republican State Representative J.D. Prescott, cited what they said were the school district's continuously low reading and state assessment scores as the reason for the amendment. So those are some of the changes to SB 1. Now it is the Senate's job to decide if they agree with the changes made by the House. That discussion could happen today, but right now there's a pretty important deadline in both the House and the Senate. It is the deadline for lawmakers in both chambers to make other changes to other bills if they would like to see other changes. So they have to do that. Right now in the Senate, they are talking about the budget. Yeah. And there's a lot of amendments that they want to get in there. So they are dealing with that. They have to deal with all of that on deadline before they can even get to a discussion about property tax relief, about SB 1.
Yeah, and we're standing outside the Senate chambers now. Like Emily mentioned, you're kind of listening in halfway to hear what they're discussing now. But of course, we know even after the Senate votes, the governor, of course, still has to sign this bill before it would become law. So do we know how he feels?
So he has put on X before that he really supported the House version of property tax relief, and he was supporting it. And then over the weekend, Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, he posted on X asking Governor Braun to veto this version of SB 1 and call a special session. And he basically said in his post that SB 1 is pretty hard to understand, that he had been hearing from Hoosiers all weekend about trying to understand this, and he called on the governor to veto it, call a special session, and pass something that the average Hoosier could understand. So we reached out to the governor for comment. We have not heard back on that yet. Okay. So again, we're monitoring this situation in the Senate, this session today in the Senate, to see if they even get to SB 1. Right now, they're on the budget with like 67 amendments to talk about. So it could be a long night.
Yeah, and we know you'll be here. You'll keep an eye on it, of course. This is a lot to break down, Senate Bill 1, just in and of itself. So we'll have much more detail and reaction coming up tonight on 13 News at 5 and 6.
All right. Samantha Johnson, Emily Longnecker reporting live at the State House. Thank you so much.
Changes fast and furious and by the minute there at the State House.